The McCloskeys had every right to feel that their life was in jeopardy because just down the road, not minutes away, that retired police captain, David Dorn, was murdered by rioters. So, you had them come in, damage all this private property. They've already had just, a couple weeks before 4 cops shot and 1 retired cop murdered. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say you see a mob coming up your house, there's something's going to happen. Something bad's going to happen.
Yeah, and as someone who has tried cases like that, as both a litigant and as a judge, you have to look at the totality of the circumstances. And just as you beautifully explained, Dana, those circumstances indicate the McCloskeys were at risk. And it was reasonable for them to understand there was potential serious bodily harm or death that could come if these folks were not held back from their actually coming into their home.
Yeah.
So it was a dangerous situation. And David Dorn, what an incredible man. He dedicated his life to enforcement of the law, protecting and serving others. And then he just tries, and actually, I'm glad you brought him up, Dana, because he was there trying to prevent protesters from destruction of this store. And what did they do? They killed him. And what were the McCloskeys doing? They were trying to prevent destruction and harm to their home and to them in it. So absolutely the parallel is there, even more so because this was their home.
Yeah.
So, and there's no question that a man that devoted his life to protecting and serving others like David Dorn, his Black life mattered, and it matters greatly. And yet these protesters, they didn't care. Everything was at risk.
Yeah. I want to ask you, this is a legal question now because, obviously your legal background, Congressman. One of the aspects of this case, and one of the things that was touched on by Gardner in her statement when she came out, she was talking about their ability. They had lethal force to use, but their firearms were completely, they had nothing chambered, they were unloaded, and they had no ammunition in the house, meaning that the McCloskeys knew they had no ammunition in the house. They went and grabbed unloaded firearms to stand outside, knowing full well that if push came to shove, they actually would not have the ability to use lethal force to defend themselves. So does that make her accusation on that count of lethal force null and void?
Well, of course, they could not have adequately defended themselves since they didn't have the rounds to do it with. But they knew that actually they did not have deadly force. Wow, that's really courageous on their side.
They had paperweights.
Man, I'm telling you, I would hate to be standing there because they really were even more at risk. So, and I didn't realize they didn't have rounds in their weapons, for heaven's sake. That's really dangerous. So, yeah, you'd have a hard time convicting them. Yeah, where the weapons they had didn't have the capacity to do harm to anyone. But still, from their standpoint, I guess that would certainly afford a defense from that nature, but I don't think it ought to even go that far. They were doing what they could to keep these people from destroying their home or killing or harming them. So it worked, it paid off, but I would not encourage people to stand out with a weapon without rounds.
Absolutely. Go, never do that.